What percentage do you estimate genuine undecided? 4, 6?
5 to 10 top. But if you could convince me it's 4 to 6. But the other thing that's going on,
Such a specific science you have here.
No, it's not a science, but I try to
hang
make
around
it
long enough and I'll say anything.
Welcome to News Beast. Happy Friday. We've got Michael Moynihan in his debut on News Beast. And
Yes. I'm what?
Your News Beast debut.
Yes, it is.
Welcome.
I'm very happy. Thank you for having me.
We're very excited to have you here. Not just here joining the enterprise, but also on Beast TV. And Doug Shoen.
I'm pleased to be with 2 distinguished colleagues.
Excellent. So, Doug, first thing, we got to talk job numbers.
Yep.
Huge, 7.8.
Yeah.
So the whole unemployment over 8% narrative out the window. Jack Welch and other people are crying foul, but there's no way this doesn't impact the race, or at least in terms of the narrative.
Look, this is exactly what the president needed.
Yeah.
Given the anemic debate performance, he needed something to change the narrative. And what could be better than seeming improvement in employment? Now, this is, as I think both of you would probably freely acknowledge, not a fundamental change, but for the purposes of a campaign, 30-odd days to go, to get below 8% to 7.8, huge.
Big deal. Disagree?
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, it's the biggest jump in, 29 months or something like this. So, I mean, it's an impressive number, and especially that anemic, I think, is a rather generous way of putting Obama's debate performance. And, you know, all of us not paying attention to the numbers in the past 5 days or so say, God, how's he going to bounce back from this in number 2? And thinking about sort of Reagan in '84 and, you know, how that first horrible debate against Walter Mondale, how the second one's going to go. This provides him with a nice little trampoline. So even if it's a sort of middling debate, you say, good God, I mean, under 8%, that's positive news. It's going to be spun in a positive way,
and not only that, I mean, there are 2 weeks between the 2 debates, Veep next week. It changes the narrative a bit. Yeah. And can you imagine, just in playing alternate reality for a second, if the number had gone up? It would have been a massive 1-2 for Romney. I mean, if the unemployment rate had gone up.
Absolutely.
I mean, it would have been that streak that Romney was having this sort of horrible couple of months. And I would have suspected that this is the beginning of Obama's horrible month of a series of things. But I mean, look, this changes things considerably.
This does. So, Doug, you've got a piece up for us on the Beast. You've been projecting out about what the polls might show post Obama's anemic, lousy, meandering debate.
Okay. Well, my colleague Jessica Tarloff, who is here with me, and I have done a series of pieces for the Beast where we have been trying to both analyze public opinion, but do something, John, as you suggest, more challenging, which is to project where public opinion is going. And what we did was we looked at some of the polls from prior elections, such as '84 when Ronald Reagan lost his first debate to Walter Mondale, and said, what's going to happen? And our best estimate is that the president will lose about 4, maybe 5 points because of that performance. Now, if you figure that he's been ahead by about 4 points, this means that Romney will either go narrowly ahead or it'll be tied. And in the swing states, there have been sort of 2 categories. There have been those that have been within 2 or 3 points, and he's been ahead, and there have been those like Ohio, which are wider. I think Ohio will get to a narrow margin. I think states like Florida, perhaps Virginia, certainly North Carolina, maybe even Colorado will get back to dead level even. Put simply, our projection is that this race will be an effective statistical tie by next week. And even if Romney does a little bit better than I'm suggesting, which is possible, I think he will settle back by 2 weeks hence. The 16th is, I think, the next debate, John, into a race that is effectively deadlocked.
Were you surprised yesterday Obama's job approval rating was at 53-54, as high as I've seen it? Yeah. Is that surprising?
Not really. I mean, I think that we talk about Obama living in the bubble, right? I mean, all of us live in the bubble, too. I mean,
it's just Brooklyn in your case.
Speak for yourself.
I live in a very, very small, I'm the boy in a bubble. I mean, I watch this debate, and I'm following this on Twitter. I'm talking to all my journalist friends, and they're apoplectic, and they're heavy breathing. And I think that
Are you willing to acknowledge that that world is a...
It's a very important world. Because that's
his world.
I'm cashing paychecks. It's a dyspeptic world that needs me, and it needs you, and it needs all of us.
Well, I'm not sure it needs me, but it certainly needs your voice. I'll agree with that.
But you know, you look back and you see, you know, this sort of gap that you have between Obama and Romney has never been overcome. And the last time it was overcome, 6 weeks out, was Thomas Dewey. You know, I mean, look.
And Al Gore.
You know, Al Gore, but
asterisk.
wins the popular vote,
Right.
et cetera. But, you know, the interesting thing is that everyone's focusing, and you're in the moment here, and it doesn't surprise me that these numbers are still reasonably strong based on, you know, previously bad job numbers, a terrible debate performance. You know, how movable are you know,
do the personal attributes flip? If there's a 50-point gap with Latinos, does that flip? Plus, how many Americans were watching our favorite pastime, baseball, rather than the debate? I tried to talk to Andrew Sullivan about that. He didn't listen.
He's not a huge baseball.
I do listen to everything you say, John, and always do. But 67 million people said they watched the debate. I think there was a huge audience. The but is, and I think it's Michael's point, a large majority of those people are irrevocably committed to their candidate. There are very few undecided voters. The other thing.
What percentage do you estimate genuine undecided? 4, 6?
5 to 10 top. But if you could convince me it's 4 to 6. But the other thing that's going on.
Such a specific science you have here.
No, it's not a science, but I try to
hang
make
around
it
long enough and I'll say anything.
Exactly. Yes. And if I contradict
drinks,
myself,
yeah.
so be it. Yeah. But the other side of it, and this is something, Michael, you're pointing to, that gets lost in the narrative. People like Obama and want him to succeed.
Yes.
And when you want somebody to succeed, you tend to view him more charitably. They don't like Governor Romney, and they have reluctantly acknowledged he's a good manager.
This is so much fun. We've run long, but final word. This is putting you on the spot. A word out of the ether.
A word? Any word?
Any word.
What is this? What
It's
kind
weird.
of game
is what
show?
It is. It kind of is. But there are no prizes.
Any word?
Yep.
Annoyed.
Annoyed. There you go. Good.
How's that?
Good. Fine.
Right at you.
Confounded. Weirdly enough, I'm going with Skyfall because I downloaded the tune this morning and I like it and I'm excited for the movie. Okay.
Great.
That's all for us for Newsbeat today. Have a great weekend. Jobs number 7.8%.